Adventure Time is just one of those franchises that has never left my mind. I've loved it ever since I was but a wee little child. Seriously, it was one of my favorite pieces of media growing up, and it just keeps going. What's really wild is that it's still here, but now it's grown up. We have Fiona and Cake, which is very clearly still Adventure Time, but now for adults. So sit back, relax, and let's talk about Fiona and Cake Season 2. Season 1 of Fiona and Cake was, in my opinion, pretty much perfect. It felt like a natural continuation of the original series. Most of the original cast returned, but the spotlight shifted to different characters, and that worked really well. And the real strength of Season 1 was Simon. Watching him try to put himself back together after losing Ice King, after losing his entire identity, was heartbreaking in a very quiet and very Adventure Time way. So going into Season 2, I was asking myself, okay, if Simon's arc is mostly done, what does the show even focus on now? And the answer was a lot of things. I really enjoyed this season. I want to say that up front. I am going to criticize it, but I still had a really fun time watching it. So first, I'm going to talk about the first 8 episodes and then move on to the final 2, because they really need to be talked about separately. Here's the thing. I have a lot of positive things to say about these first 8 episodes. There are genuinely so many interesting ideas being explored. For starters, giving a Huntress Wizard a more central role alongside Fiona and Cake was a fantastic choice. She has always had so much untapped potential in the original series, and giving her real narrative weight feels just right. Finn's injury being set up so subtly last season was also really well done. Watching Huntress desperately try everything she can to save him, even though she clearly has no idea how to emotionally communicate, really shows how much she cares. And then there's Fiona. Fiona having to deal with being just a normal adult after literally saving the multiverse. She can't keep a job, she's broke, she gets evicted, she's constantly forgetting things, making mistakes, acting selfish, acting self-centered, and honestly, that makes perfect sense. She just went on the biggest adventure of her life, and now she's back to retail jobs and overdue rent. That is brutal. And then there's a weird love triangle, square, polycule thing between Fiona, DJ Flame, Fennel, and Hunter. I swear, I jokingly called that it was going to be a polycule at the start of the season, and it is insane how close I actually was. Meanwhile, Bonnie, Marcy, and Simon are trying everything they can to save Finn, and nothing works. We also have Huntress Wizard needing to find the heart of the forest in order to return home to Ooh. All of these ideas are good. And that's kind of the problem. There's too many of them. I haven't even mentioned Marshall and his relationship with his mother, Marshall's relationship to Gary, Cake and Emkron's relationship, Prismo glitching and being unable to grant wishes, the whole cosmic court thing. And of course, Fiona and her friends trying to save Gary's bakery, the sweet spot, which is kind of the main focus of the season, and that feels really strange, because it's hard to care about a bakery when Finn, the main character of Adventure Time for 10 seasons, is literally dying. That feels like it should be the emotional core of the story, but instead it feels a lot like a B-plot. Some of the most important overarching themes, grief, loss, and change, feel like they're being glossed over in favor of romantic drama and a bakery. There are too many ideas. and most of them don't mesh together cleanly. I started this season so excited to wait for a new Adventure Time episode every week, just like when I was a kid. But by the end of episode 8, while I was still having fun, I couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. It just wasn't living up to season 1. But as I was bracing myself for a mildly underwhelming ending, final 2 episodes dropped. And they completely saved the season for me. Completely. Episode 9 immediately got my attention when I noticed Rebecca Sugar's name in the opening credits. And the second I saw that, I knew this was gonna be an incredible episode. So, Fiona, Cake, and Huntress fall into this strange dimension made up of unprocessed grief and memories. And finally, we get somewhat of a payoff for Cake's arc this season. Her time with the Karmic Worm ties everything together, everything that's been building from the start of this season. Cake feels out of place. She feels like she doesn't belong and like she can't really relate to anyone else. And the Karmic Worm understands that. And then they bond. And we get another classic Rebecca Sugar song, which emotionally will get you every single time. And this is where it really hits. Cake isn't just an AU version of Jake anymore. She doesn't have to be. She can be her own person. She doesn't exist only to live up to someone else anymore. But the emotional core of this episode is Fiona going through the paintball memories with Fern, who's alive and looks like a femboy now. Apparently when he died, his consciousness ended up here. And they go through Finn's memories, including one where Huntress doesn't want to live with him, showing how emotionally closed off she's always been. And then we see Finn's reaction to Jake's death. But they don't show Jake dying. It's just the reaction, and honestly, that makes it so much worse. We don't need to see Jake's death. Finn's reaction tells us everything, and it is heartbreaking. And I think this is the moment where Fiona realizes something really important. She idolized Finn. Knowing she's an alternate version of him made her feel like she had to live up to this impossible standard. But now she understands that even Finn, the hero, isn't perfect, and she doesn't have to be perfect. She just needs to be herself. And at the end of this episode, Cake chooses to stay with the Karmic Worm. Everyone returns to their own universes. And emotionally, I am not okay. And then episode 10 somehow manages to pull everything together. PB and Minerva try and upload Finn's consciousness into a robotic body, and PB just keeps trying to justify it, probably even to herself. But the others are hesitant, especially Simon, because is this really saving Finn, or is it just avoiding their own grief? There's a lot that happens here. Basically, every character that's ever been important to Adventure Time shows up, and there is already a ton of videos breaking down every single reference in this episode. I'm not here for that. I'm just talking about why this episode works. Fiona finally reunites with her friends and makes amends. She talks to Marshall and Gary and apologizes for destroying the bakery. She talks to Felix and Hunter and Fennel and makes amends and sets things straight. Huntress then shows up and saves Finn from being crushed. Oh my god! And then we get the emotional climax of the season. Fiona meets Finn in his younger body, and they finally talk. Finn believes nobody will ever love him the way Jake did. And Fiona tells him the truth. Huntress loves him. She's just bad at communicating. She has her own trauma. And this is what the entire season was was leading toward. Finn beginning to step out of that depression, and Fiona learning that she doesn't have to be perfect. Everyone is just trying their best. Anyway, that's all I'm gonna cover in this video. I could genuinely make a bunch of other videos about things I didn't mention here. Peppermint Butler now rules the Candy Kingdom. Apparently, Huntress is teaching green magic classes. Finn's living with her. Prismo's glitching still isn't answered. Fiona's world now has an entire planet instead of just one city. The Catalyst Comet shows up there. And also, why does Lady Rainicorn not appear at Finn's memorial, but we see her flying overhead for like 1 second? Wait, does that mean she died too? Do not do this to me, Adventure Time. Do not do this. I might need to make another video about all of this. Anyway, that's all for this video. And if you enjoyed, please feel free to like and subscribe. It really would help. I promise I'll make more videos soon. Thanks for watching. Bye!